Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to this Esports Life, a vlog, maybe series, who knows? It's just going to be a video for now, just so that I can get used to doing more vlogs, because that's what I want to do, and try to knock down some of the topics that maybe other people, you guys, want out of me. You guys in the comment section, you guys who are the fans of mine or communicate with me on Twitter, like my anyone, right? And I realized one thing that's super difficult as somebody who's in front of the camera, is understanding what I should be doing to answer the needs of people who are watching me. So I used to watch I've watched a lot of YouTubers get really big, and I remember thinking after watching them, this guy, how come he isn't making this one video? This one video would really complete the package in this series. This one video is a question that I swear everybody wants to know the answer to, but for some reason, he's not doing. Why isn't he doing this topic? Why isn't he making this kind of video? This type of video he's the best at. He would kill this. And as soon as I started making videos, I realized that it's really not that cut and dry. It's actually quite difficult to see through the interference in that way as somebody who's behind the camera, like in a position that I'm in, where you have so much exposure to different opinions on what to do and what not to do, that it's hard to prioritize what is the best thing to do first. And then you get lost in all of the different things and all the different aspects of work that you have to. I mean, I don't just make YouTube videos, right? I cast events, I stream daily, I do a lot of different types of content. I'm always talking to people, have meetings and preparation. I'm traveling, and so it's just like it's a whirlwind, right? But it doesn't look like that from the outside. It looks very simple from the outside. Like, all this guy has to do is make a video about ants. I heard him talk about ants one time, and he is honestly an ant connoisseur. Why doesn't he just talk about ants more? Everybody wants this. This guy knows all about mounds, the different fire ants. He's a specialist. He really understands this topic better than anybody else and can speak fluently about it, but doesn't do it. Why doesn't he do it? And that guy is thinking, I talked about ants one time. That went pretty well. But maybe I don't really like ants that much. Maybe I don't really understand how much people liked that I talked about ants and that I was actually that good. So it's important to have some kind of communication. Also, just throw your ideas out there. But anyways, what I decided to do for today is to just run through some the question that I blasted out was in simply considering vlog topics. Go. That was the tweet. So from there, I'm just going to run through a few of these questions, and we'll maybe just keep this short. I think one of the big things is sometimes if you take on a project you set yourself up to do like a 40-minute vlog video, then you have set the bar, for everybody who is like watching. Next video, 45 minutes. It's going to be more dense. It's going to be there's going to be more stories, right? It's going to be crazy. There's going to be less ums. There's going to be more stories, less ums. It's going to be incredible. So I think it's going to be important for me to start off low, actually. Start off with just a 5-minute 10-minute, and sometimes I ramble, but I just want to make sure that I make a video that next time I don't have to live up to one of my last vlogs I did was one of my best vlogs where I just did it on the first try. One thing I do when I vlog is I don't like going off of a script because I don't like sounding unnatural. That's just how I live my life. But when I did that video, everything just flowed out the first time, and normally what I do is I record the first 10 minutes 4 or 5, 6 times just to get my orating right, just to make sure that my diction is proper, that I'm clear-headed, that I'm fleshing out my ideas properly, I don't run into any roadblocks mentally, and that helps a lot. But in general, I like to just freestyle it because I think that it sounds the most natural, and I think that's important. I like raw, long, and uncut. Who doesn't love raw, long, and uncut? So what we're going to do here is just to kick off whatever the fuck we're going to do next is just answer some questions on Twitter, freestyling them and answering them kind of as quickly as possible, just like a shootout, just boom, 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 boom. So I think I liked some of the ones that I think were really okay. So here's the first one from @MTB Snipe 88. What's it like working with top names in esports? It is a fucking pleasure. I will tell you that. It's amazing. There's a lot of people that I work with that I was either fans of or that that maybe I wasn't a fan of, but I've just watched so much of them online, and then getting to meet them in person and find out who they are as people when you interact with them. Sometimes my expectations are blown away. Sometimes I just have a completely different opinion. Almost every time, though, I've been either impressed or satisfied or just happy, and have learned something from these people. So honestly, working with top names in esports has been amazing. It's been really really cool, and there's a lot to learn from everybody. And I've also have found an appreciation for somebody as that person, and then also an appreciation for certain people as they are as an analyst or a caster or a player. There are different. What's an example? I don't know. So like, who's a Valda is a player on Heroic who is just this, doesn't have a big brand. He isn't a top name. He's an up and coming player, plays extremely well, but you don't get a lot of exposure out of him, so you don't know what he's like. But as soon as I met him at an event, he pulled me aside and was like, "Hey man, if you want to know anything about Dangerous CS, if you want to dispel any of the rumors, like, hey man, I like your casting, I like what you talk about. If you need to know anything to help you become a better caster, just make sure you get everything right. Like, ask me questions." And I sat down, I talked to him for like 20, 25 minutes just about all the questions I had pertaining to any teams that he knew, all the inside information that he wanted to talk about. So that's a surprise. That's a player that after DreamHack Summer, I tweeted at him, "Yo, great event, man. This guy's gonna be the next, whatever, big player in Denmark." And obviously, that was a huge event where he did extremely well, and ended up being true. But I mean, everybody knew it. It was just kind of congratulating him because he deserved it. And then when I met him actually after DreamHack, he just showed me that he was just this down to earth person. He's in the server, he's a star player, but in real life, he's a down to. Shocks is another person. I met first interview that I ever did with him. I told the story yesterday on my stream. By the way, yesterday's stream was sick. I told the story yesterday on my stream. It was I met Shocks at MLG, the major. It was the major. That wasn't actually maybe the first time I met him, but we did an interview. And I remember I was like, I asked him before everyone was just setting up the camera, and there's always this period when everything's getting set up. You go up to the player and you talk to them, and you're like, "Yo man, you want to talk to me for 5-10 minutes, do a little bit of an interview. I'd love to get to know your opinion on this and that." And then they're like, "Yeah man," and then okay, they come over with you, and then it's either this awkward silence or you just talk about something. And so I always try to just talk about something, because they you got Taylor setting up the camera, taking his goddamn sweet time, and you really have to kill 5 to 10 minutes sometimes. So I was like, "Yeah, so what do you like to be called? Like, do you like to be called Shocks?" I mean, I have people who send me emails calling business executives from big companies calling me Launders because they don't know that my name is Mohan. And I was just like, this is just the name we chose for ourselves. A lot of people know us, but no one knows that his name is Richard Papillon, whatever, right? It's just, he's got a real name. Nobody knows that. So I was like, "Do you like being called Shocks, or do you like being called?" And he said that he said that Shocks is this star player personality, extremely good IGL entry fragger, top fragging, person who always has impact. And I was like, and then he said, that's who I am in the game, but I like to be called Richard because I'm just a person. Now, please tell me that isn't the sweetest thing that you've heard today, because honestly, what is more humanizing than hearing somebody say that, who you regard as this superstar player? When you see him on camera, he's always looking mad cool with this fucking, you know what I mean? He's always looking really cool. He is a really cool person too, but he's actually very also warm, and maybe some of he's not, but he's probably confident, but still just a down to earth figure, and that's a really cool thing about getting to go to these events and meeting these people in person. Sometimes people who have RBF, resting bitch face, are actually not like that at all, and it's just their face, So that was a really eye-opening experience, and that happens quite often working in esports. So it is really cool. And I was a little bit long for that question, but it's a good question. Thank you, MTB Snip 88. So how did Boxer, this is by Captain Canada 8, how did Boxer get involved in the Smash industry, or how was Boxer conceived? Okay, so Boxer, when we started Boxer, and actually I haven't made a video about this, but you guys, I turned my personal brand Boxer, BOXR, with the sickest logos in esports, sickest logo in esports. Buy a shirt, we make our own shirts, boxer.gg. There it is, beautiful fucking logo, made it myself. It used to be my name. This is a short story because I've told this story before. It used to be my name. My name used to be Boxer. And then when I first started my first team with my friend Eon, we needed a team name and a logo. And I was like, you know what? I just made this logo for myself for Steam because I'm a huge branding guy. I always make logos for myself. Why don't we just make that the logo? I was a nobody. Why don't we just turn it into Team Boxer? I'll just change my name to something. And then I made my name Launders out of nowhere. It doesn't mean anything. It's just phonetically I like how it looks and sounds. And I wanted a name that sounded like you were talking to your friend. That's how I came up with the name Launders. But that was how Boxer was conceived. It was that, and then it just was my personal brand on my stream. Instead of having Launders Gaming, I was like, Launders Gaming. Who wants to buy a Launders Gaming shirt, right? So we're gonna make it Boxer because that's cooler to have a extra. Boxer's like the corporation, and I'm the sole proprietor. So I have that as and then I was like, it doesn't really have an identity though. If it was Launders Gaming, it would have made a lot more sense, but people always be like, what is Boxer? And to me, it's the personal brand, it's the community, right? But it's hard to explain. So we made it into an org to give it more identity, and then we picked up a Smash player. And this connects to the first part of the question: how did Boxer get involved in Smash? And it was because I started obsessively watching Super Smash Brothers Melee. Obsessively. I haven't missed a tournament in 2 years, I'd say. So as soon as I figured out Twitch and that people were playing this game competitively, which I had no idea about until I started playing CSGO, I basically just jumped in with 2 feet. Haven't missed a fucking tournament since. And I was like, man, I really want to get involved with this community. This is a community where they have players who do not make enough money, okay? This is one of the hardest games you'll ever play in your life. If you've ever learned how to play Super Smash Bros. Melee, you will realize that this is not a game that will come out purposefully ever again. Okay, no game company will ever make an esport as difficult as this on purpose. Games like StarCraft can be as difficult, and a lot of games can be difficult, but a lot of the stuff in this game certainly would have gotten patched over the years. Or changed and slowed down at least somewhat. And you can see that difference in Smash 4, for example. That doesn't have half of the tech. It's called tech, but it's all these sequential key inputs that allow you to do something that makes the game speed up and gives a player who knows what they're doing an advantage. A lot of this tech wouldn't be. It's a very hard game, but it's not supported by Nintendo, and so a lot of these players. What's cool about the community is that they make their own tournaments, but a lot of these players don't make a lot of money because there isn't a lot of viewership because they don't have a lot of infrastructure. So I decided I wanted to get involved in a game that I love, and Smash is one of those games, and I wanted to help out this community because I think their community is fantastic. And I started and I picked up Zoo, who's a fucking awesome guy who is a Smash player. He's been a Smash player for a long time. He works for Smash GG, which is a really great site that helps build the infrastructure of the community, which is amazing, by the way. Just that whole topic alone of how Smash holds itself up by its own community. You cannot pull the rug out from under Smash. You can pull the rug out from under anyone in any game, even Valve games where people run their own tournaments. As soon as people saw that Valve was no longer supporting the game, there would be less than a quarter of the support. But in Smash, there's no one to pull the rug out because Nintendo already doesn't even help out with any games that any tournaments that Melee makes in any meaningful way. Like if they disappeared completely, it wouldn't matter, is what I'm trying to say. So we picked up Zoo. Now it's Boxer Zoo, and he represents us at tournaments, and it's awesome. And hanging out with him is awesome, and getting more involved and meeting more Smash people is fantastic. And that's why I want to get into that. Now thank you, Captain Canada 8, for that question. Event prep would be the main thing, and maybe some stuff about Boxer. Okay, so we talked about some stuff about Boxers from InsightsG. At InsightsG, event prep would be the main thing. So for me, I actually don't focus on event prep per se. The first day is always the hardest in events for me. It depends, however. If I'm an analyst, I do more preparation per match, and also coming into the event to make sure I have all my facts straight. Because number one, there's a lot more time on the desk that is meant to be time where you kind of have to come up with stuff, which is not a bad thing. That's something that you get hired to do, and also you should be able to talk about. There's lots of stuff to talk about in Counter Strike, right? But the conversations can run dry if you don't actually prepare and think about interesting things to talk about. So it's important to have your stats straight if you ever want to reference them. And so a lot of it consists of going on going on HLTV, checking out some stats to give you context and concrete facts, and then all the player stuff, like what I know about this player and stuff. That's shit that I get hired for. That's stuff I understand better than most people. That stuff I know, and I already have years of watching games to go and grab from my memory. Right, that's part of the reason I got hired, and then the stats to supplement that. So I spent a little bit of time before every game looking at this matchup, the history on this matchup, how a certain player plays a spot on a map. This is stuff that I think about, and I take some time to prepare before I go into either a death segment or even as a color caster. But as a color caster, I love color casting because you get to focus on in-game live analysis, which in my opinion is the best version of analysis, like the most satisfying, gratifying for me at least, where you get to actually talk about what people are doing now. For me, the history and stuff, it's important, and it's great. And you have people like Thorn who are incredible at being able to reference and pull up stuff about the history of rounds between teams and talk, and from there predict what might happen next. But for me, I feel like I excel at, and I really enjoy picking apart what's happening now in the server. So I love being able to live analyze games for that reason, and I don't focus too much on thinking about what to say beforehand. I pull it out from what I'm looking at. I'm very confident in doing so. And okay, so that's one question there. So the next one is from our man's Boxer Zoo. Asks how to cast, funny behind the scenes casting / production / player stuff, perspective of other games and events. So we did talk a little bit about perspective of other games and events, like Smash, for example. I used to play StarCraft back in the day. Maybe we answer this question a little bit backwards. My perspective of other games and events, I hold Smash in this high regard as this game that's, again, holding itself up by its community and very unique in that way. And that's why I love to not throw my hat in the ring, but be a part of that community and help support it as one of the people who is coming into esports without $1 million and just and trying to help out from the perspective of somebody who just likes playing games and likes watching people play games and wants to make sure that the future involves players having a realistic opportunity to get salaries and live off playing games. Nothing breaks my heart more than seeing a player play a difficult game that people love and not make enough money to only do that. Then they have to go work their fucking 9 to 5. That is such bullshit to me. So that is the one thing that I think I really, really care about, maybe the most, honestly. And other esports, there are, what do we got? We got Overwatch, Dota. And I guess there's a lot to talk about in each game, but I guess in general, what I would say is that I love looking at these games to learn more about how to look at esports as a whole, and also draw parallels and trends and growth, so that I can understand what might happen next in Counter-Strike and what might happen next for me and how I should position myself. So I'll look at the fact that Dota is a game that's owned by Valve, and they have TI, which is this major tournament funded by, and not funded by the community, but the crowdfunding is orchestrated by Valve. And I think about how that affects the game as a whole, and what that results in, whether or not that would be a good thing for CS, for example, is something I think about. And obviously there are pluses and minuses, and I think there are some more minuses, and I think it's cool that happens in Dota, but it's probably not best that it happens in all games. And then there's Overwatch, and I guess I have one interesting thought about Overwatch, and that's that in Counter-Strike we don't have cosplaying, and cosplaying is a great way to involve women in esports. And I say that because no matter how easy it is for anybody to go to Best Buy, pick up a pre-made, plug it into their wall, turn on their computer and play some games. A lot of girls don't play esports or games in general. That's just the way it is for whatever reason. And cosplaying is a huge industry that they have in like League of Legends and Overwatch, that have houses that build. This is an industry, you know. This is an esports industry, and there's like cosplaying is a whole other world, and another way for a way for women to get in, that women like to get involved with in games, and beyond that, there's lore for every one of the characters in Overwatch or League of Legends or Dota, and we don't have that in Counter-Strike, you know. So there's people who are great at deciphering what might be hard for somebody like me to decipher when it comes to the backstory, or might be more interested in that and be able to come up with cool different types of content based on it. In Counter-Strike, we don't have that. You know, we have a terrorist model, a CT model, different countries that they fight in. Like it's very limited in that sense, and that's something that I kind of wish that we had. So I like that Overwatch has that. And then you see a game like, and just to continue on this train of thought about different games, we have Quake Champions coming out, right? And I think that there's going to be a focus on in Quake Champions on having different roles and characters, and then probably lore for each of those characters, and they all have different abilities to satisfy the different types of people that might play them. Whereas in Counter-Strike, everybody sets off on the same foot, and you can all buy the same guns, and you just got to work together to figure out what the best composition is. But nothing is set in stone. There is no truly best composition. Everything is very loose. Everyone's got a frag, you know. So I think that is kind of cool, and I wish we did have that. And I think about that. So those are some things I think about when I see new games. But they're different games, so I don't necessarily think of everything from the perspective of how could Counter-Strike be better. I just think about how cool some of the other stuff in other games are, and what I wish we had, and what I think is cool that we have that other games don't. Funny behind the scenes casting, production, and player stuff. What has there was one thing that, I mean, this was one of the funnier moments when I was at DreamHack Austin, and if you guys remember, there was a situation where I streamed a match versus Cloud9, which just make it fast. Rest in peace. Best pug team to ever hop in a server. But we played a match versus Cloud9 for a game world cyber whatever the fuck. There's so many fucking tournaments that all call themselves the World Champion Cyber League All-Star whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? They give themselves the most grandiose titles, even though they have shit prize pools and awful production. But either way, we entered this tournament to see if he was qualifier for the Lithuania Land Finals. Took a map off Cloud9. Ended up on we took a map off Cloud9. We took him to OT or something, and then the second map was Cat, and then we were like, it was right in the beginning of the game, and they told me I had to turn off my stream, and I said, I was just like fucking with them because we were just playing as a pug and we were doing great, but we were like, what the fuck, you telling me to turn off my stream? Like, I have I'm streaming Counter-Strike. I'm not re-streaming your fucking casters watching the game that I'm playing. I'm streaming my own POV with my camera, my overlays, my team comms, and a game that you don't fucking own. Get off my back, you know. And I didn't really express that. I was just more like trolling them. So they ended up banning me. And at first they were like, turn off your stream. I was like, okay. And I decided to turn off my stream. I actually turned off my stream just to ask my team if I could turn it back on and if they cared or not, because they thought it was bullshit too. And I was like, we'll get banned if I keep streaming. I was like, do you care if I turn it back on? And they said yes, so I turned it back on, and then we got banned. So whatever. I think a lot of people don't know that, but that was something funny that happened. And when I went to DreamHack Austin, I met one of the production staff at DreamHack Austin, and he's like, hey man, I'm the guy that banned you in the Azubu game. And so I was streaming a game on Twitch that they had streamed on Azubu, and Azubu said they had rules, and that was all bullshit. I was stealing all their viewership because they couldn't run a stream properly. It looked awful, casters suck, etc. But I met this guy, and he said, I was the one who banned you. He said that, I think he only told me because he said that he was the one who was told to ban me, so he literally banned me, but he didn't actually choose to or decide to or want to. So it was kind of funny, and we're friends. But that was something funny that happened. what's a there's let's see, there's definitely other ones that I might have to dedicate, because after parties are fucking awesome in esports, at least in Counter-Strike. Or Twitch after parties are fucking awesome. There's always so many funny fucking things. And I will say there are a lot of CS:GO players that cannot hold their liquor. Okay, there were tons of them out there that cannot keep it down. So it's kind if it is pretty funny sometimes going to these events and seeing these players acting differently than their streams, or just when you meet them or you see them in a video or whatever. They're just drunk off their face and acting a fool. Maybe we'll save that for another time. But let's see. So the other one is how to cast. I think this might be the last question actually, and I can go ahead and refresh this thread and see if there's any other good questions. That's pretty much the best thing. Oh, how did you get into cat? Hold on, there might be another one here. So Zoo's third part of the question is how to cast, and casting is actually quite a fucking difficult job. I think only since 3 months ago did I even start liking listening to my own cast. And some people might find that crazy. I've always found it perplexing myself, because I've always been very confident in liking things that I do. But because I don't have control over casting, right? I go in live, I talk, I go back, watch the VODs, and then I see what I did wrong. I can't actually deal with the finished product. I always come out of events, look at my VODs and go, holy fuck, that was awful. Like I could have done way better. And I'm the kind of guy, I was proud of the rapping I used to do. I was proud of it. I finished it off. I put it online because I thought it was good. When I finished the product, I thought it was good. But the casting is something that I never was able to edit the product and make sure it was good, review it before I finished it, so on and so on. But after a while, I always watch my VODs after the practice, and I think the main takeaways and things that I've learned recently, or most recently, that has helped me push it over the edge to the point that I actually feel like I am me when I cast now. And that's something I've always strived for, and it's harder said than done. Harder said than done is to easier said than done is to have the same confidence that you would when you're in a moment where you're riled, where you got that fire in you and you're talking to your friends and you're very comfortable and confident and having a great time, and bringing that into a situation where you're forced to bring that out in front of an audience, in front of 100,000 viewers, with a chat going crazy and a ton of people behind you screaming their asses off for their favorite teams, all live. That is just a confidence. That is confidence. And confidence comes with experience. Some people are born with it, but for me, it comes with experience almost every time, and it's something that I've had to get better at. But just opening my mouth and enunciating and really just being in the moment and not getting distracted by what people are thinking or who's saying what or what am I saying, just not forgetting about all of that and just talking like I'm the only person in the room, and I'm getting across my excitement, and then watching my cast back after that has really, really, really changed the game for me. And it was just a matter of jumping in with 2 feet, and I didn't know it for a long time, and I didn't realize I wasn't doing it for a long time. I thought I had to kind of craft this person who was a good caster and watch things that I said, but you're not hired at that point unless you have it in you. So if people might talk to you and see it in you, but then you go into the match and then you're a different dude, and it's like, that's not what they wanted. That's not what they wanted at all. And how to cast, that's kind of an answer to that. That's how you answer that question. I think it's just to be yourself as best as possible, and a little bit more, just a little bit more energy. That's why they're giving you the money. Okay, you can do it because you love it, and then they give you the money, so you got to turn it up just a little bit more. Okay, and it's not fake. It's just when you do things on camera, they need to be enunciated. They need to be bigger. Your move, if you're gonna make a face at somebody, it needs to be an exaggerated face. You have to really show your emotion because of the camera. So that's broadcast life, and that's just something you have to learn as after being in the industry a little bit, and also the enunciating and the clarity of thought it comes with confidence and experience. And I'd say that is the main thing with how to cast and finding your style. And now that I like my own cast, if somebody says something about before when I used to watch my own cast, if somebody would say something about my cast, I would be like very upset because I know that I also don't like it. And so I feel like they like this version of me that I don't even agree with, but that they think I like. And so I'm very upset because there's nothing I can do about that, right? There's nothing I can do about that opinion. That might take a second, but you can unpack that. This guy puts a comment and says, "I hate this casting," and then I read that and I go in my head, "I didn't like that either," but he doesn't know that, and now I can't respond to him and be like, "I didn't like it either," so that doesn't make sense. You said it, you said it. That was you. But the only answer is just to get better, get to a point where you like your own cast. And now that I like it, when I read a comment, I go, I don't care, because I'm confident in myself. So I don't care. I if it's really me and someone doesn't, I don't care, because I'm my biggest fan, and my biggest detractor. So the only opinion, the most important opinion, not the only opinion, but the most important opinion is mine. Some people aren't like that. I am like that. If I like something that I made, it don't really matter what you think. In my opinion, if you don't like it, you have a bad opinion. So I think it's important to have a thick skin in that sense. But the only way it works is if you actually like what you do. So that was my biggest struggle over the last couple of years, was making a product in casting that was something that I liked. And I've finally gotten there. And I still have to improve, but I'm just happier now. I actually enjoy it. I look forward to it. I want it. I want to cast. I like it. So that was that's kind of how to cast from my perspective. A lot of people have different ways of getting there, and different views on what's good and what's not. But in my opinion, you just have to like yourself and like what you're doing. But I think, you know what? That's it. That's all the questions we got. So that's great. We got a Twitter Q&A. I don't know how many fucking minutes this is. It probably went way over what I thought I would. I think we're up to 32. But yeah, man, I rambled. Anyways, thank you for watching. I will do more content, vlog stuff. I'll try to do more. Just try to pour it out, okay? I want to do stuff more off the cuff. Tweet me stuff. Follow me on Twitter, please. Like, I would rather have 100,000 followers than a new house. Okay, seriously. This is the international esports currency. It is the most important for me to get anything, either to have a sponsor or to get a better salary. Everything relates back to my Twitter followers, in my opinion. If I go to a new game, all I see is their Twitter followers. It's the universal current. So please follow me on Twitter if you want to support me. I would really appreciate it. All my tweets are fire, by the way. So just fucking get on that, okay? You could be the guy who retweets it in the first 10 seconds. You want to be that dude? Follow me at BotLaunders. Follow me on Twitter and tweet me topics. And that's all I got. So that was this Esports Life Twitter Q&A. Peace out.